Bhaje Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Praja Janaranjana Anandana Prajadana Manjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari the Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Sodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Let's take it. So, Om Jnana Timayandasya Jananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutaye Svayam Rupa Kadadmayam Tadati Sva Padantikam Vandiham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Santam Sajivam Sadvetam Sadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakikam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Trubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutaye Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Prachatyad Zatarne Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Te Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Thank you, and could I please seek the blessings of the devotees who are assembled and also online, that I can hopefully speak something of that's worthwhile, and yes, that's worthwhile. So thank you. So today we're reading from Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 2, text 29. Ascharyavat pasyanti kaschid inam, ascharyavat vadati tateva chanyaha, ascharyavat chenam anye shrinoti, srutvapi enam veda nacheva kaschit. So, Ascharyavat pasyati kaschid enam, Ascharyavat vadati tateva chanyaha, Ascharyavat chenam anyaha strinoti, srutvapi enam veda nacheva kaschid. So Ascharyavat pasyati kaschid enam, Ascharyavat vadati tateva chanyaha, ascharyavat chenam anyaha strinoti, srutvapi enam veda nacheva kaschit. So it's on page 119. Ascharyavat pasyati kaschit enam, Ascharyavat vadati tateva chanya, Ascharyavat chenam anyaha shrinoti, Srutvapi enam veda nacheva kaschit. Ascharyavat pasyati kaschid enam, Ascharyavat vadati tateva chanya, Ascharyavat chenam anyaha shrinoti, Srutvapi enam veda nacheva kaschit. And the word for word is Ascharyavat, as amazing. Pasyati sees Kaschit, someone, Enam, this soul, Ascharyavat, as amazing, Vedati speaks of, Tata, thus, Eva, certainly, Cha, also, Anya, another, Ascharyavat, similarly amazing, Ja, also, Anya, another. Enam, this soul. Anya, another. Shrinoti, hears of. Shrutva, having heard. Api, even. Enam, this soul. Veda, knows. Na, never. Cha, and. Eva, certainly. And Kachit, someone. So, and the translation. Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. So, and the translation one more time. Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. And the purport. Since Gita Upanishad is fully based on the principles of the Upanishads, it is not surprising to find this parallel passage in the Katha Upanishad 127. Sravan na yapi bahubir yona labhyaha shrinvanto pi bahavo yam na vidyuhu ascharyo vakta kusalo svya labdha ascharya svajnata kusala nu shistaha. The fact that the atomic soul is within the body of a gigantic animal, in the body of a gigantic banyan tree, and is also in the microbic germs, millions and billions of which occupy only an inch of space, is certainly very amazing. Men with a poor fund of knowledge, and men who are not austere, cannot understand the wonders of the individual atomic spark of spirit, even though it is explained by the greatest authority of knowledge, who imparted lessons even to Brahma, the first living being in the universe, owing to a gross material conception of things. Owing to a gross material conception of things, most men in this age cannot imagine how such a small particle can become both so great and so small. So men look at the soul proper as a wonderful, either by constitution or by description. Illusioned by the material energy, people are so engrossed in subject matters for sense gratification that they have very little time to understand the question of self-understanding, even though it is a fact that without this self-understanding, all activities result in ultimate defeat in the struggle for existence. Perhaps they have no idea that one must think of the soul, and thus make a solution to the material miseries. Some people who are inclined to hear about the soul may be attending lectures in good association, but sometimes owing to ignorance, they are misguided by acceptance of the supersoul and the atomic soul as one without distinction of magnitude. It is very difficult to find a man who perfectly understands the position of the supersoul, the atomic soul, and their respective functions and relationships, and all other major and minor details. And it is still more difficult to find a man who has actually derived full benefit from knowledge of the soul, and who is able to describe the position of the soul in different aspects. But if somehow or other one is able to understand the subject matter of the soul, then one's life is successful. The easiest process for understanding the subject matter of self, however, is to accept the statements of the Bhagavad-Gita, spoken by the greatest authority, Lord Krishna, without being deviated by other theories, but it also requires a great deal of penance and sacrifice, either in this life or in the previous ones, before one is able to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna can, however, be known as such by the causeless mercy of the pure devotee and by no other way. So it mentions in the purport that no matter what one does in material existence in terms of gratifying their senses and just due to bad association and following a different path, ultimately it will result in a failure and it will defeat the purpose of life. So also it mentions in the verse that in the purport that those who come to Krishna consciousness in their previous lives, they've gone through a lot of austerity. And I was just looking at a quote from Srila Prabhupada where he mentions that those who've come to Krishna consciousness, they have gone through a lot of austerity and have performed many pious activities. And also he says for one to even make a devotee, he uses the term that you have to shed gallons of blood. But this doesn't mean like it's not like in the sense of a martyr. It's simply in the sense that if one has to convert a devotee, they have to spend energy, which is taxing on the brain. That requires a lot of energy to do these and endeavor, even just to make one devotee. And that's the endeavor also on the devotee, on their part, on both parts, as the devotee has come to Krishna consciousness based on his previous pious activities that he has received the mercy of the Lord, either through the devotee or through Krishna himself. So, from Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 9, text 1, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam tute guyatamam praveksyami anusu yave jnanam vijnana sahitam yajnatva moksaye subat. Okay, and the translation. The Supreme Lord said, "My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most secret wisdom, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence." So it mentions there that due to Arjuna's his non-envious attitude, that he has received a knowledge. So there are two classes of living entities: those who are either pious living entities, or those who are have this underlying envious nature, which they might not be fully aware of in their day-to-day activities, but it's still something that has to be purified. So also Bhagavad-Gita chapter 9 text 2, Raja Vidya Raja Guyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratiyaksavaganmam Dharamyam Su Sukham Kartum Avyayam. And the translation: this knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion, it is everlasting, and it is joyfully performed. So, as we can see from the verse, some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. So we know that all matter is inanimate. It's actually matter is dead. It's a living entity which gives life to the matter and makes it animate. And these are all this the beauty we see in the material world is all the creation of the Lord, who empowers Lord Brahma as his architect. So one may ask, simply not rather than just observing the magnitude of the material creation and the beauty of the material creation, one may ask, how can we see the soul? So here we can see that the soul, it can be perceived by knowledge. So knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting, and it is joyfully performed. So those who are the pious living entities, who are non-envious of Krishna and who follow the process of approaching a spiritual master. In Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 4, text 34, it mentions, if you want to know the truth, just approach a bona fide spiritual master, inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. For the self-realized one can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. So that's the process, is one has to approach a spiritual master, and then they will give that the light of knowledge that will help us to see clearly and to perceive the soul is also. So those are the pious living entities, but also there's those who are impious. So this is mentioned in Bhagavad-Gita on text 7, chapter 7, text 15. Namam duskritino mudaha prapadyante naradama mayaya paharta jnana asuram bhavam asritaha. And the translation, those miscreants who are grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. So those who are described as grossly foolish, they are the mudas. So these individual living entities, these are ones who are engaged in fruitive activities. It's is how they derive their most satisfaction in their current perception of life. That it's actually most of a majority of the world now we can see it's how they can try and it's what they seek as being the solution, is to seek material comforts. So these are ones that who work very hard day in and day out simply for sense gratification. So naturally, by their own desires, they become a slave to their own desires also, that they just simply work for, as Srila Prabhupada describes, they work like asses simply for the sake of sense gratification. But, I'll just read some of the purport of this verse just to describe. So, the mudas are those who are grossly foolish, like hard-working beasts of burden. They want to enjoy the fruits of their labor by themselves, and so do not want to part with them for the supreme. The typical example of the beast of burden is the ass. This humble beast is made to work very hard by his master. The ass does not really know for whom he works so hard day and night. He remains satisfied by filling his stomach with a bundle of grass, sleeping for a while under fear of being beaten by his master, and satisfying his sex appetite at the risk of being repeatedly kicked by the opposite party. The ass sings poetry and philosophy sometimes, but this braying sound only disturbs others. This is the position of the foolish fruitive worker, who does not know for whom he should work. He does not know that karma, action, is meant for yagya, sacrifice. And also, it's those who are described as the lowest among mankind. And Srila Prabhupada says that these, as he calls them, miscreants, this is actually 99.9% of the population on planet Earth, in the material world, that they may have some idea of a higher life, of a higher existence, but they choose not to pursue that for sense gratification. So this is why they get the term the lowest among men. So it says that the civilized human beings are those who have regulated the principles of social, political, and religious life. Those who are socially and politically developed, but who have no religious principles, must be considered Naradamas. So it says that ones who don't actually have religious principles are considered animals, in terms of what it might be described as polished animals. And the four principles of religion, they correlate with what we have in Krishna consciousness, the four regulative principles. So it's mercy, compassion, mercy, compassion, austerity, and truthfulness. So these are what is in every bona fide religion, and without these religious principles, one cannot actually advance in spiritual life. They have to go through these regulative principles. I heard it described before as if one is driving at night time in the dark, they can't see very far. So this is our state as a conditioned living entity. So these regulative principles are described to as the lines on the road, which are there. They may have certain lights also. So as we are following the rules and regulations and the principles of spiritual life, these will guide us through the darkness until we reach our destination. So this is also called Vedi Sadhana Bhakti. And then it has those whose knowledge is stolen by illusion. So these are described as highly intelligent individuals who may be philosophers, scientists, but who are speculating at the truth rather than surrendering to Lord Shri Krishna. And also those who partake of the atheistic nature of demons do not surrender unto me. So that's those who say they don't believe in any God whatsoever. And then those are the impious individuals, so they don't surrender unto Krishna. But also there's four kinds of pious men, as mentioned in Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 7, text 16. O best among the Bharatas, four kinds of pious men begin to render devotional service unto me: the distressed, the desirer of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the Absolute. So these are ones who are in terms of distressed. They're just completely materially exhausted. They've no more interest in material life. They've maybe just seen that the material world and have the realization that it's not such a good place. Also, those who want some benefit, but it's not a recommended process, but they still surrender nonetheless. So they're the desirers of wealth. And then those who are inquisitive, they may just want to know what it is rather than searching for the knowledge of the absolute truth. And then the final one is knowledge is those who just want to find the truth of the matter. So also in chapter 7, text 17, Of those, the one who is in full knowledge and who is always engaged in pure devotional service is the best, for I am very dear to him and he is dear to me. So there's, in terms of one who can perceive the soul, in terms of the difference of and the qualities of the soul, where one may look upon the soul as amazing, and they may appreciate the aspects of the soul. So the soul is Satchit Anand, so it's full of knowledge, eternity, and bliss. So when a devotee, there's 26 qualities of a devotee which will become manifest when one practices devotional service. And these are, so number 1 is kind to everyone. Number 2, he does not quarrel with anyone. Number 3, fixed in the absolute truth. Number 4, they are equal to everyone. So that's seeing everybody as a part and parcel of Krishna, and as knowing that they have the super soul residing within their heart. Number 5 is faultless. So they, whatever they do is in accordance with the Supreme. Number 6 is charitable. Number 7 is mild. Number 8 is clean. Number 9 is simple, without material possession. Number 10 is benevolent. Number 11 is peaceful. Number 12 is completely attached to Krishna. Number 13 has no material hankering. Number 14 is meek. Number 15 is steady. 16 is self-controlled. 17 does not eat more than required. Number 18, they are sane, so they have sanity. Number 19 is respectful. Number 20 is humble. Number 21 is grave. Number 22 is compassionate. Number 23 is friendly. 24 is poetic. 25 is silent. And 26 is expert. So today I was reading Leela Amrita. It was Srila Prabhupada. He was staying in America with his first family. It was the Argowals. I believe the name of the wife was Sally Agrawal, and she was describing her time with Srila Prabhupada. So she was describing, that he could see that he clearly has some of these qualities. That she called him the most brilliant person. Very expert, very very mild, peaceful. He wouldn't cause any trouble. When she was doing things or minding the children, he would just chant, and just when visitors came and were smoking or eating meat, he would just say, "Think nothing of it." So he wouldn't cause any trouble or any racket. He was just very very astute in how he would deal with others. So also, it says in Bhagavad-Gita chapter 7, text 25, Naham prakasa sarvasya yoga maya samavritaha mudo yam nabijanati loko mam ajam evyayam. And translation: I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them I am covered by my eternal creative potency, yoga maya. And so the deluded world knows me not, who am unborn and infallible. So those who are within this material world, within the categories of those who do not surrender unto the Supreme Lord, those who are grossly foolish, who are the lowest among mankind, and those who are speculators who create their own philosophies, and those who are just the open atheists. So the reason why they cannot see the soul is by Lord Sri Krishna's eternal creative potency, Yoga Maya. So the deluded world knows me not, who am unborn and infallible. So I believe, to the best of my knowledge, Yoga Maya is Lord Sri Krishna's internal potency. Yeah, and also there's Mahamaya. So I believe it's actually Mahamaya that is the which covers the living entities in this material world. It's mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, text 16, chapter 16, text 15. The transcendental opulence in the spiritual world is caused by Yogamaya, whereas the opulence in the material world is caused by Mahamaya. The sages were almost, this is the purport, the sages were almost too puzzled to speak before the Supreme Personality of Godhead for the first time, and the hairs of their bodies stood erect due to their extreme joy. The highest opulence in the material world is called Paramestya, the opulence of Brahma, but the material opulence of Brahma, who lives on the topmost planet within this material world, cannot compare to the opulence of the Supreme Lord. Because the transcendental opulence in the spiritual world is caused by Yogamaya, whereas the opulence in the material world is caused by Mahamaya. So, as we know, Krishna he possesses all wealth, all knowledge, and so forth. He owns everything, but he is known for his 6 opulences, which he's the supreme opulence. So, as individual souls, as fragmental parts and parcels, we can't equal the Lord's opulence. I believe I mentioned this in a previous class, is that we are of the same quality as of the Lord. So, like gold is gold in our purified state, like a hot rod which is put into fire, it also starts to become hot and burn, almost like fire. But gold has the same quality as gold. But in terms of the Lord's opulence, the Lord still has unlimited opulences which we can never surpass. So I seem to think of it as like different carat gold, different qualities of within that gold as well. So actually, I think it's probably best to stop the class here. So that's basically how the conclusion of the class is that the soul is amazing. It has all these positive qualities, but for those who want to see the soul, they have to surrender and follow the bona fide process rather than enjoy themselves through the material sense gratification and their own speculations. So I wonder if there's any questions. Okay, so Bhagavad-Gita ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai, and devotees ki, Jai. they might have come onto the altar from the...
Yeah, but who's going to take them now? No one's going to take them now.
No.
The flower being now, isn't it? So it's putting it up tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that's what it's meant. Probably, yeah. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
It's always nice to hear about the soul.
Yes.
But there's more flowers coming up tomorrow, right?
I presume so, yeah. I don't know.
In the morning, right?
I presume so, yeah. I don't know.
But we can use them for the Chana Mrita.
Yes.
Use them for the Chana Mrita.
Yes.
Because they put out these sticks, these flowers bear, right?
Yes.
This will be good enough, right?
Yeah, they will to use them.
Yeah. I'll put it in the flower bit.
Okay.
And this one I just give back here?
Yeah, that's from that plate is from the Pujari room. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.